Hello, Tim O'Kelly. And have you ever been wrapping up a year, getting excited about a new year, feeling it, but yet don't really know how to start it in the most productive way? That's what I want to do right here. I want to give you a model that is a great model to start any new year. And the truth is, it can start a new month if you wanted it to. It can even start a new day, any kind of a time point that you want to start from. But a new year is a great way to do it. We're ending 2015, walking into 2016. That's why I want to show you this model. Before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about my background. I was in the restaurant industry for years, 15 years straight. And coming out of college, University of Oklahoma, before that, Catholic school in Tulsa. So I was working for this restaurant company, and my boss came up and asked me to do a course, to do a seminar. I've never done a seminar of any personal nature before. I've done professional ones, but I never did one of personal nature. And he just looked at me and goes, "You know what? I think you'll like it." And there was something about the way he invited me. I just went, "All right." And I went the very next weekend. I tell you what, not only did I enjoy it, I changed careers. And I made a new decision of how to live my life because I had some tools, I had some things that I could do that worked, that produced results. And one of the decisions I made was to do this work for the rest of my life because I love this work. I have never been lit up about something as much as I have been about this work. And it really just is so exciting to see myself, to see my family, to see my friends, to see people just make a little shift and produce a huge result. Okay, now I'm not talking about, this is not a how to make $1 million in a weekend. It's not that. It really, I don't even believe in that, but it's how to make a small shift in my life that produces a happier relationship, that gives me more energy, that gives people a lot more drive to go do what they really want to do, to open businesses, to write books, to start relationships, to build things. And we're designed to build. And so what I've done over the last 25 years is I've been studying, I've been really looking at what are the least, amount of concepts that I can utilize to change my life in the way that I want to. What's the littlest amount, of work that I need to do to produce the biggest change? And what I brought you over all these videos is exactly that. When I went to the course back in 1988, it really was a changing point in my life. And I look back and see how my life used to be, and then see how it is now, and then see how it's going to be. That was exciting. And so anytime we get to a point like that in our year, I get excited. I remember that what happened for me in the class is we're starting a new year here in just a couple of days. And so I wanted to bring you this model of all the things that I've studied. I've just narrowed it down to really 5 things that you can do, and they're very simple to do, that really sets you up well to have a great year. Now, when I say these things, this is not all that you have to do in a year, but this is just a thing you can do in one day as we start the new year. There's 5 steps to it, okay? So the first one would be, instead of doing your to-do list, instead of doing your New Year's resolution, now, please do those if you still want to. But this one, I think, is a much bigger viewpoint. And that is, what do you really want to experience? Not do, right? What do you want to experience in 2016? Just start there. Is it more love? Is it more prosperity? More freedom? More health? Instead of what I got to go do, what do you want to experience? Because people are all about the experience. People will pay a lot of money for an experience, right? So what do you want to experience? That's the first stage. What do you want to experience? And go big without having to know how to. Don't get caught up in the house. What do you want to experience? What do you want to be experienced different in 2016? Okay? That's the first step. Now, the second step would be, as simple as this sounds, it's what a lot of us don't do. And that is very simple. Well, you know what? Let me do this. If you've ever been on a cruise ship, you've been on an ocean liner, what gets that ocean liner out into the open ocean? What gets that ship out of the harbor and into the ocean? And I do this in classes, you always hear the same answers. The tugboat's what gets it out there. The fuel, the propeller, the staff, the people, the money that pay, all this. And that all kicked in. But what had to happen first was a decision. The captain or someone in charge had to make a decision that we're leaving. Without that decision, all the crew, all the money, all that sits and waits. But once a decision is made, then the tugboat can work, right? So the power of decision making is so overlooked because a lot of people think, well, I'm not willing to make that decision because I don't know how to. Again, we want to let go of the how. If you understand the law of intention, decisiveness shows you don't have to know how, you just have to make that decision. So to make the decision that I'm going to be happier in 2016, I'm going to be more prosperous in 2016, I'm going to be healthy, even if you look at, the last 4 years of my life have been horrible. I don't even care about that. Don't look backward, look forward. And make a decision. And some people go, I don't want to make a decision because I don't want to fail. I want you to think about that for a moment. I don't want to make that decision because I don't want to fail. If you don't make the decision, you're going to fail. So what's the absolute beauty of making the decision? You'll experience it. But we've got to make that versus, I'm going to try, I'm going to give it a best shot, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to see what happens. You never know what happens. No. Make a clear decision. I'm going to be happier in 2016. I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to be wealthier. I'm going to be more loving. I'm going to be more giving. I'm going to be more contributing. I'm going to tithe, whatever. Right? So make the decision without knowing how to, without having any evidence. See, that's the difference right there between leaders and everybody else. And someone who's willing to make a decision. Okay, now we're going into number 3. This is now where it gets a little bit more applicable. This takes it out of concept into, then how do I, right? And what this is you really want to utilize technology now to support you. And that would be to set up reminders, to use your phone, to use your computer, to use all the things that we have available to us to remind us of things that we need to do to experience that, okay? So say, for example, that you really want to experience contribution. You really want to be a giver in 2016. You want to just raise that up a little bit. Well, then, as simple as it sounds, make the decision and then set up reminders to contribute instead of losing that by February. Health clubs know this. People who work out a lot, they don't go in January because the health clubs are packed with people. They'll go in February because they know by then nobody will be there. And that's true. I mean, that's what happens. People get really excited at the beginning and then they lose focus. Okay, this way, it's very subtle. Set up reminders. The end of the month, look at your account, give 10%. So once you figure that out, then have the reminder, reminding to give 10% today, right? Or a reminder every day. My phone is full of reminders of supplements to take, of money to contribute. I mean, it's just a lot of different things. It makes it easy. So, and you can set it up for a whole year. Take you really 30 minutes to set up these reminders for the whole year. You got the reoccurring features, everything, okay? So set up reminders of things you can do to get that experience, okay? And then the next one is get yourself around a support group of people. Get yourself around, whether it's a group me or I don't even know what I'm saying right now. The group where people get together and support each other, Get online, right? Get a Facebook group going of people that are like-minded, that are producing results, and be able to, here's what I'm going to do, here's what I'm about, and get some great support, okay? That would be number 4. Get some positive, great support around you. And then the last one is when you start to experience contribution, when you start to experience happiness, I know this sounds so simple, but it's one that we don't do enough of. And that is to really acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge yourself for the process you just went through and what you accomplished. Pat yourself on the back. Have a cigar. Have a glass of champagne. To really acknowledge, look what I just did. 10% I contributed to an organization. Have a nice little glass of champagne, have a Coke, whatever you want to drink, and just celebrate. And acknowledge it. I tell you what, if we don't acknowledge it, we'll stop doing it. Doesn't it make sense? If we don't acknowledge ourselves pretty soon, what's the reward? So make sure you acknowledge yourself. Make sure you reward yourself, okay? So let's just real quick, 5 things. What do you want to experience? Make a decision, set up reminders of what you need to do to make that happen, get some support around you, and really acknowledge yourself. That is a really beautiful, healthy way to set up the year. Now, I just want to end this with one other thing that I think is so important, and that is to schedule your personal development courses for the year. That's my business. I know it. I'm not even saying do mine. Okay, I'd say do mine as one of them or two of them. But make sure you go outside of that too. What 3 courses are you going to do this year? Get online, find them. A men's course, a women's course, a relationship course, a wealth course, a 2-day course. There's so many courses out there. Keep your mind growing. I tell you what, set them up now, because if not, I don't have time, and then you're not going to do it. So take a few minutes to set up your courses that you're going to do this year and get those courses done. Keep growing, all right? So with that, have a great 2016. Check out all the other videos, and let's stay working on it this year to have an incredible year, your best year. Thank you.